Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studio in Cumming, Georgia, it's time for Forsyth Business Radio.
And welcome back, friends, to another episode of Forsyth Business Radio. I am your host, Amanda Pierce Marmolejo, and we are broadcasting live from the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce here in Cumming, Georgia. It is my great pleasure to welcome two friends and fellow podcasters into the studio today. We're going to have a lot of fun. Seated across from me is the one and only Dmitriy Teplinskiy, and he is the managing partner of Alpha CIS. How are you today, Dmitriy?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for having us.
And also we have Ty Keller, who is a mortgage lender for Cross Country Mortgage. Welcome to the show, Ty.
Thanks for having me.
And what I failed to mention, and we'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, is they are also the co-founders of a wonderful networking group that I participate in that is called Brews with Bros. And we're going to dive into that and all the layers of value that they provide through this networking operation. But first, I want to share with our listeners a little bit about what you guys do within our community. And we'll start with you, Dmitriy. Tell us about Alpha CIS.
Yeah, so my business, that's the name of the company. We are a managed service provider focused on cybersecurity and just helping businesses with their technology. So basically in a nutshell, yep.
Cybersecurity and technology, two things that are foreign to me, and I'm thankful to have a professional like you in my life. Who do you look to do business with, Dmitriy?
So typically we kind of try to focus on businesses with, 10 to 100 employees or so is our kind of sweet spot. But, we can help out just about anybody, whether it's ongoing or just project kind of stuff. So.
Very cool. And how can people learn more about your services?
Yeah, so alphacis.com, and we kind of have a list of, everything that we do. But for the most part, if you have a business and, you're relying on technology in any sort of way, shape, or form, we can usually help you out.
All right, Ty. Tell us what you do at Cross Country Mortgage. Last time we had you in the studio, you were with Angel Oak Lending, and now you're with Cross Country. Tell us about the change.
Yeah, so Angel Oak Home Loans was acquired on their retail side by Cross Country Mortgage last November. And I'm happy. I think it's a fantastic company. I got into the business coming on 15, 16 years ago, and I was just looking for a place where I could have that creative mortgage offering. So many mortgage companies, they all kind of do the standard conventional, but I needed some place where it would let me be creative, get people like business owners qualified, different programs. So I'm a residential mortgage lender, in short. Do a lot of different things in the lending world, but that's my sweet spot.
Very nice. And how can people find you online?
Yeah, you can go to ty-keller.com.
And Ty is a TikToker, guys. So I encourage you, if you're on the TikToks, to find him on TikTok. What's your handle, Ty?
So it's Ty Keller CCM.
I very much enjoy it because I get to take a peek into your super cool studio. As I mentioned before, also, they are fellow podcasters, and Ty's got a dynamite studio. So if you're out there and you're in the world of creation, I encourage you to follow him. So let's kind of crack into the fun stuff, guys. We're sitting here, and I remember sitting around a table at Cherry Street Brewery with you guys about 1.5 years ago, having a nice conversation casually, and we got to learn a lot about each other. And you guys shared with me the inception of this group, which is now thriving, and I'm excited for you to share the benefits with our listeners. So I'll let you guys take it from here.
Sure. Yeah, so Dmitry and I and you were kind of sitting around hatching a plan thinking, we all love networking. We love making connections. What are we doing now? We kind of talked about the different groups that we're involved in. And for me, coming here from Denver 3 years ago, I needed to kind of, get it in gear and meet as many people as I could and just make as many connections. And philosophically, we agreed that, the idea of networking is really just to build your value for other people. And there's this really good book called The Go-Giver that I would highly encourage anyone listening to this to go read that once or twice. But I think that book really helped me figure out my philosophy in networking. And it's really just to make as many connections as you can, just so you can be as helpful as you can. And so we were trying to figure out a way, well, what do people like to do? How can we get a lot of people together and be casual, establish something that people can have fun with and make valuable, meaning connections and have some camaraderie. And so we came up with, well, we're all sitting here drinking beers. Why don't we just come up with a group where we can have people, come regularly and make it an open invitation. And it's just taken off. We started a website, Facebook page. We've got coming up, close to 200 members in the group officially. But part of the draw to it too is we just decided to tour different breweries, and depending geographically, kind of where we're at, we'll pick up a different group of people. But it's ended up being one of those things where you can really add value by helping people establish and build their own network, because we open it up and we've got cards that Dmitriy made for kind of cool with a little QR code.
Super cool branding. Yes.
That's the thing is, right. That was my whole thing is I was always the keyboard warrior, right? Like my business is IT. So it's not the most exciting thing. So doing, sitting behind a keyboard, I was just like, that was my whole marketing push was just, SEO and just ranks and all that kind of stuff. And so when I was like, hey, I'm just going to change this all up. This was around COVID time. I was like, I'm going to go out and actually interact with humans. So when I did that, I was trying to figure out how can I add value, and just so as an outsider coming into these established groups, I could, people could accept me as being like, hey, this, he's bringing something to the table. And so that's kind of also part of this draw was that being able to kind of create this community for people to kind of, leverage for their own use. And so that's kind of how it all came about.
I think that's a passion that we all share, is that we are all connectors. And at Business RadioX, I consider us a community of connectors. And I very much think that you guys do the same with your network. One of the things that I enjoy so much about it is I can come, if I just went to a on-topic luncheon and I'm dressed to the nine, I can come and have a beer with you guys at 4:30 after. Or if I just happen to have worked from home and got back from the gym, I can come in my gym clothes and you guys receive me with open arms in both, both ways. It's not quite your mom or your dad's networking group, shall I say, although there is a variety of ages. There are no bounds to who can participate. But I like the casual feel, and I like that there's not so much business crunch, if that's even a term.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when people make the best connections, is actually getting to know somebody on a more personal level. You're more likely to do business with them in the first place, right? If you know them like that, instead of just as just a formal only setting. So I think that's been part of the success, been part of the reason why people like it, I think, too.
Ty, talk about the power behind forming meaningful and intentional connections.
Sure, I think it's there's different environments where that is easier to do, but I feel like you can have that with coffee with people. You can have that with lunch. You gotta, if you're doing a good job, you're getting to know as much as possible about the other person, finding out what their business is. I was kind of raised in a different business environment where you just sit there and you ask questions and just learn about people. You're there to help. I was a banker at first in my career and did commercial lending and mortgages and managed branch locations for a number of years. And, really learned a lot through that process. Your job, whether you realize it or not, is really just to know as much as you can about other businesses that you work with in your community. I think, at least that's my philosophy. And that's really helped me because, it gives me an idea of, what solutions they have for other people and, who I could refer them to. And, people's names pop up in my mind all the time of people to send to. And I just see that in my own business too, as think about how hard it is to make a personal connection with somebody, and somebody that you would consider to be in your network, somebody that you talk to regularly. If they're calling you for a solution on something and it's not necessarily something that you do, how valuable is that to be able to say, I've got a guy, to take Amanda's quote earlier before we went on the air, but you want to be the guy that has a guy. You want to be the person that is seen as a valuable connector. I would consider Amanda as somebody who I would call a super connector. And you meet a handful of those people who are just well connected, but very much interested in other people makes you a good networker. And this is easy to do in this environment. Just to bring it back to Brews with Bros, it's just you're coming as you are. Bring a couple business cards if you want. We might raffle something off, but be comfortable, be yourself, and then establish that personal connection and just say, hey, don't be afraid to call me if you ever need anything. And it's really good to know you. And I have so many people in my network now just from this group alone. It's fantastic.
Growing Facebook group. If you guys are out there listening and you want to join, just put in your search bar, Brews with Bros. And just to be clear, in the name, Brews with Bros, like you're just having brews with your bros. Women are welcomed.
Yeah,
I am the OG bro chick. Okay. So we are not defined by any category, and there's no membership required. So that's exciting, and no entry fee at the door. Holy smokes. And you can drink as much or as little as you'd like.
That's right. Yep. And then we started raffling off some stuff. We're talking about doing a clothing line too, just with some some merchandise that we can have. And another thing that we're actually working on, and it's kind of done, but we just need to kind of get the word out there, is we have a website. Part of the website that we have is a way for people to kind of put up their business profiles. So we kind of encourage the group members to go on there and register, just so that they get a backlink from the website. Plus, they also have their profile in another spot that people could see it. So
it's like a resource center.
Yeah, pretty
much,
much, yeah.
Very nice. Now, for those of you just joining us, we are here with Ty Keller and also Dmitriy Teplinskiy, and we have some really exciting news, because today we're here not only just to talk about the value of networking through the group, but we are here to drop the mic and talk about the launch of the Brews with Bros podcast. I heard it's going to be coming in September.
That's right. Yeah, we started recording kind of, so we're picking up people that are interesting from the group, and then the idea is that everybody is in a business development role that comes to these to Brews with Bros. Right? You're either a business owner, you are in a marketing position, just something along those lines. So when you come to this, right, you want to get something of value. When you're listening, you're spending your time listening to a podcast, you want to get something of value. And so the premise of this podcast would be focused on marketing and sales, and different people from different industries have certain insights to how they able to make that connection with their clients, how they're able to stay on top of the mind. Just actually last time we had somebody talking about video, and the guy was big on sending out videos to his prospects instead of text messages, and I thought that was super cool. So it's things like that you learn certain techniques that have made people successful in their fields. So that's kind of the premise. It's going to teach everybody, people having sharing their knowledge.
Yeah, and you kind of, maybe the question people might be asking is why not just have somebody stand up for 5 minutes at one of these meetings and talk about their business, which is what you'd get in any other networking group. But number one, we're not against that, but that's just a little too much formality for us. I'd rather just be sitting there, having beers and meeting people instead of taking 15 minutes to see a slideshow at 4:30 on a Thursday evening. That doesn't sound like fun. So we kind of shunned that idea and said, no, that's not what we're about, but hey, let's do one better. Let's do a podcast. Let's give everybody in this group who's interested in give them an opportunity to showcase their business. But instead of showcasing it to 30, 40 people on a Thursday, let's do it to the millions online who have access to our podcast. And then that will live in perpetuity online. They'll have links to their website. If any of these businesses are trying to, increase their SEO and their reach, that would be something of value to them. And it's all free. And it's an opportunity for us to really get to know them. And where we were lacking in the group was just that little bit of education piece and formality. So we're reining it back a little bit, but we're doing it in a way that I think is, maybe modern, maybe helpful to people. So
yeah.
I am a rapid consumer of podcasts. I learn so much through podcasting because I don't have as much time to read actual literature these days. So when I'm in the shower, when I'm at the gym, when I'm on the road, I'm constantly just whipping through these podcasts. And I very much enjoy hearing from real people and their subject matter expertise. Mm-hmm. So I think your vision for this podcast is definitely aligned with what the listeners crave. You want to create craveable content, and I look forward to listening and subscribing on all the platforms to the Brews with Bros podcast to learn from your network. So for those listening out there, if you'd like to learn more about Brews with Bros, just simply visit www.brews, plural, withbros.com. And also there's a Facebook page. We invite you to join it and see when the upcoming events are. I want to just turn it back over to the fellas and see if there's anything else they'd like to emphasize or touch on before we cut you loose.
Yeah, I think it's just we haven't really invented anything spectacular. The message today for everyone listening is, just you gotta be yourself and find what works for you and just do what we did. We were looking for ways to add value, get to know people in our network, be a place in the community where people can come. And it's nice kind of being at the center of that and organizing that, because it's really been helpful to us. And so the one thing I would just add to all this is join us at the next one. It's the second Thursday of every month, and it's going to be a good time. It's at 4:30 in the afternoon.
That's basically it. I mean, I'll kind of talk about I can kind of just circle back around and kind of talk about how the whole thing even started, right? I think, Ty, you just moved here and just started doing like 3 months ago, right? Before you actually started doing the actual networking. And I think I was about the same time. I think we both kind of started off at about the same time, going out and meeting people in the community. And so, it just kind of started off. I mean, we all kind of met together.
You and I met through the chamber.
We met through the chamber.
And I met Ty through you.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it was all within a few months of each other, I thought. So yeah, we were kind of all, at least me and Ty, at least you were already like rocking it, but I think you were just starting in Forsyth though.
Oh yeah.
At that time,
I
right?
straight pitched you as a client when we first met.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
And here we are today. That just goes to show the power of getting to know somebody. Some people are introverted or they're fearful to, be vulnerable or share what they're looking to do in business. But when you find the right group of people, you can really create something sensational by letting those walls down and just, going for it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And, so we just kind of, invite people over, and we're, excited about the podcast. If you guys think that you have something cool to add to the value, if you have some good tricks or tips or anything in your industry, please, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on the show and kind of, tell everybody about it. So, yeah.
Very excited. Well, congratulations to you both for creating something that is going to last well beyond our years, I'm sure. And for all of you out there that are curious, we encourage you to come and enjoy a bubbly beverage with us of your choice.
Oh, thank you, Amanda, for having us, and it's been a pleasure.
And thanks for hanging with my scratchy voice. I sound like Fran Dretcher. We are broadcasting from Georgia, and there's like a storm going on near the coast, so I think that all the pollen and everything in the air is just getting up my nose, and that's where we're at.
Yep,
so,
that's exactly it.
Thank you guys for coming and sharing your mission with us. I am your host, Amanda Pierce Marmolejo, and this has been Forsyth Business Radio on Business RadioX.